this week brought an unusually heavy patch cycle and signs of immediate attacker interest. Several vulnerabilities were actively exploited or highly likely to draw attention, and multiple vendors pushed urgent updates. Welcome back. In today's briefing, Microsoft's record-setting Patch Tuesday and newly named 0 Days, critical fixes from Ivanti, Fortinet, and SAP, and a ServiceNow flaw that was exploited for deeper unauthorized access. Let's get operational. First, a record-breaking Patch Tuesday for June 2026. Microsoft released an exceptional volume of fixes across Windows and supported software. Dozens of bugs were rated critical, exploit code for at least 3 weaknesses is publicly available, and one 0-day, CVE 2026-49160, can trigger denial of service on a range of web servers including IIS. Microsoft noted the flaw was reported by Codex, and some of this month's 0-day activity traces back to recent disclosures by a researcher known as Nightmare Eclipse. Why it matters. Public exploit code and active researcher disclosures shorten the Defender response window. Defender takeaway. Prioritize Windows and IIS-adjacent updates. Inventory exposed web services, and implement compensating controls where immediate patching isn't possible, including rate limiting, WAF rules for known patterns, and strict monitoring for abnormal 5xx spikes indicative of DOS attempts. Second, Microsoft patches a record 206 flaws, including 3 0-days and critical remote code execution bugs. The tally includes 39 critical and 167 important vulnerabilities across categories such as privilege escalation and remote code execution. 3 flaws were publicly disclosed at release, heightening the likelihood of rapid exploitation. Why it matters. The breadth of fixes touches core desktop server and application surfaces, making incomplete patch coverage a significant organizational risk. Defender takeaway. Move to a risk-tiered rollout. Fast-track updates for internet-facing assets and high-value systems, then broad enterprise deployment. Validate with spot checks via vulnerability scans, and tune detections for privilege escalation chains and post-exploitation lateral movement. Third, Microsoft patches the Yellow Key, Green Plasma, and Mini Plasma 0 days. 2 of these vulnerabilities enable attackers to gain system privileges on fully patched Windows systems, and a third grants access to BitLocker-protected drives. That combination undermines endpoint hardening and can expose data presumed safe at rest. Why it matters. Local privilege escalation plus potential data access can convert a minor foothold into a full host compromise and data exposure event. Defender takeaway. Deploy the specific updates addressing these 3 0 days without delay. Verify EDR coverage for privilege escalation behaviors and review BitLocker key management and recovery key access. Where feasible, increase scrutiny on endpoints handling sensitive data until patch saturation is achieved. Fourth, Ivanti, Fortinet, and SAP release patches for multiple critical vulnerabilities. Notably, Fortinet addressed CVE 2026-25089, a command injection flaw in the FortiSandbox web UI across on-prem, cloud, and PaaS offerings with a CVSS score of 9.1. The issues across these vendors can lead to arbitrary code execution and information disclosure. Why it matters. Security and sandboxing tools, ERP, and remote access platforms are high-leverage targets. Compromise can cascade into broader environments and data stores. Defender takeaway. Apply the latest vendor updates immediately, especially on security tooling and any internet-exposed admin interfaces. Restrict management plane access, enable MFA, review recent administrative actions and web UI logs for anomalies, and validate that any vulnerable modules are now at a remediated version. Finally, ServiceNow reports a flaw exploited to gain unauthorized access to customer instances. On June 5, 2026, the company applied a security update to hosted customer environments to address an issue that could allow an unauthenticated user to obtain deeper access on susceptible instances. Unknown threat actors exploited the flaw against some customers, prior to or around the update. Why it matters. Critical SaaS workflow platforms concentrate sensitive data, credentials, and automation, so a single access gap can provide broad reach into business processes. Defender takeaway. Confirm your instance received the update. Review access logs and API activity around June 5th for unusual patterns. Rotate integration credentials and tokens where exposure is suspected, and tighten access controls, such as IP allow listing, SSO enforcement, and least privilege roles, while monitoring for follow-on activity. Across the board this week, the theme is speed. Attackers are moving quickly on publicly disclosed and high-impact bugs, and patch velocity must match. Build a rolling risk-based patch cadence. validate coverage with scanning, and keep detections tuned for privilege escalation, web UI abuse, and service account misuse. If this briefing helps you stay ahead, subscribe, share with your team, and turn on notifications. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next update.